This week, it's just us boys. It's a packed show, and we're talking Disco Elysium, the director's cut. We've got Amanda the Adventurer, and some news about Roblox, of all things. All of that and more in this week's episode of the podcast. Roll the intro.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, ba-da-ba-ba, ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da, ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Yeah? Yeah, that I felt like we were like getting in some family feud territory there. Also, Green, you look guilty, like you might have accidentally let Mendacii's audio leak. Um, was that in fact
Yeah,
the
I definitely
case?
heard that.
I did, but I don't know why it went through.
Okay, cool. No, I was just
I thought I
freaking.
changed the profile. Oh, I didn't. Oh, okay, that's why.
See, I freaked out because I thought it was me.
No, it was me. It was all me. 100% me. It's the life of the Go XLR 2 PC. You know,
Yeah.
I'm on
audio
a
and such.
podcast with a bunch of casuals. Ugh.
Yeah, I
Ugh.
know. I'm so inexperienced with the 2 years now that I've been on the show. Like,
Yeah.
I've never learned, and I will never learn, and I will always be a podcastian plebe.
Yeah.
I will never evolve and never move on.
Damn.
Of pods.
Well, Green, other than being a podcast bleep, how are you doing?
I am doing pretty good. I finally finished I want to say about a 2.5 day print time project today, and I'm super excited. I can show you for the video watchers. It's like a little Japanese lantern. I've got a little LED fire lamp in there.
Aw.
I just finished the top, so I'm super excited to get it painted and set it on my shelf where I'll never touch it again. It's gonna be great. See? It's wonderful.
Beautiful. I love it.
Danie, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. We're also we didn't give you the proper guys, if you don't know, he's wonderful and beautiful. We're also joined by the spooky and the ukuli, Mendacii. Mendacii, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm great. Honestly, I'm just splendid. I had a bit for this today, and I decided not to. And I think it's because I'm still like hungover from taking Advil PM last night. I slept for 18 hours. Turns out it was 2. And then I slept for 6 more, but it felt like 1. And then I just kind of zombied my way through my workday. And now I'm here, and I have no concept of spatial reality or a temporal plane.
You are a cosmic being, it sounds like.
I'm waiting for my third eye, my brown eye, to open so that I may find the mysteries of the universe behind it, which I believe some call the male P-spot.
Damn.
I put the top on to put it on my shelf, and it's too big for my shelf. I'm sad.
Anyways, guys, thanks for watching and listening to the show. If you miss any part of the show, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. If you want to join us live, you can find us on Twitch every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. This week, the show is sponsored by Factor 75. You guys can save $120 off your first week of meals by using my link. Learn more in the ad break of the show. If you guys want to be a part of the show, you guys can also answer the question of the week. Last week we asked you who the best Batman was. I am still standing by the fact that Will Arnett is the best Batman. This week we're asking you, what's your favorite anime moment? Green, what's your favorite anime moment?
Edward,
Oh,
want to play? Want to play, Edward?
You are a fucking monster.
Ha 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 ha!
An absolute fucking monster.
Edward?
No.
Gross.
You are a bastard.
You know what's best about that part, though, is you see Shao Tucker get what he absolutely fucking deserves. and that is
Mm-hmm.
Scar ripping his body in twine. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Depends on which version you're
that's
watching.
um,
Right.
Brotherhood is the most manga centric, so that is what we're gonna go with.
Yeah, but
I agree.
you can't. I mean, yes, technically that's canon, but you also can't just like disregard manga or FMAO 3. You know, because it happened. It exists.
Yeah, I know it did because I talked about it on anime chat boards back when those were a thing, and on Gaia Online.
you're you're showing your age there a little bit, Mendacii.
Yeah, yeah, pretty creaky.
Mendacii, what's your favorite anime moment?
Oh gosh, that's so hard. It could be a few things. It could be Jotaro finally getting up on Dio. Um it could be from Ninja Scroll, the climax there where the main villain gets just encased in gold and thrown to the bottom of the ocean. If we're gonna go with more contemporary, God, even though Berserk had some really great moments, uh, so good. But Tanjiro at every point of a climax in any arc, it's like the most phenomenal thing. The last fight that he did with Tengen against one of the upper demons was phenomenal. And then going back through and watching My Hero Academia, watching the plus ultra prominence burn that that in
Redeemed Endeavor,
oh my god, yeah,
redeemed.
he's still redeeming
But
like into season five.
I was just about to say, is he technically redeemed? Because he's still like a child
No,
abusing piece of shit.
right,
But at least he
and wife
realizes now.
beater.
Yeah, now he actually realizes that he was a child abusing piece of shit. You know,
Right,
and
and
is
then
trying to change for that, which is kind of cool in my opinion. I think it's a good redemption arc.
it's good, and like it's
It's
what I like the most about it is that his older son is like, "Fuck you, you piece of shit! I will not forgive you." And then he's like, "All right, I'm going to buy you guys a new house so that like you guys can live somewhere separate from me, and we will take our time with it." It's pretty interesting so far. It's got a lot
how
of
do you,
real life in there.
how do you say he said he doesn't want his forgiveness. He wants to serve his
He
penance.
wants to atone. Yes.
Yeah. So like he
Yeah.
doesn't want his forgiveness. He wants to people to know that he knows he was a piece of shit. Like I don't that's my biggest thing about it is like he's not trying to essentially get forgiveness. He's trying to actually like atone for what he's done. And it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I love
it's
it.
very reminiscent of like Zuko's character arc
Mm-hmm.
throughout like season 2 into season 3 because you have like the village with the kid
Yes.
that he helps out, but then they realize that like hey he's a firebender and he's Prince Zuko, and like
Mm-hmm.
they're like essentially shun him away even though he just saved the town from these asshole Earth King kingdom soldiers.
Yes.
But then like he still pushes forward and like eventually becomes a genuine good guy, and it's great. I love anime so much.
Yeah, and everyone loves
So
a heel
good.
turn to face. Like heel turn to face is the coolest shit and gets more people like on a train than a face turn to heel. Like Captain America turning and being like, "Hail Hydra," is like but when Red Skull saves like the entirety of the Avengers or something, which, is fucking never gonna happen. Fuck that guy, he's a Nazi. But like if that ever happened, people are like, "Oh my god."
They did retcon that though,
Yeah,
Captain
they sure
Cap,
did.
which they needed to 'cause so many people got backlash for that. Gave
Oh
backlash
yeah.
for that.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
about Danny? What's your favorite moment in the anime, man?
Man, I've been sitting here thinking about it for a hot minute. Um,
What do you
there's
think, Danny?
shut up. Well, for sure. I mean, I gotta mention Yu-Gi-Oh, right? The especially with I just watched Dark Side of Dimensions not too somewhat recently. I watched it on the plane to Boston, and just the fact that Seto Kaiba just like wills himself back into existence
Oh yeah, yeah.
is hilarious. It's also like the other part of it is when he decides to, like, at the very end, how he decides to go back and fight the pharaoh, and just when you realize how absolutely ridiculous the world of Yu-Gi-Oh is, that this 17-year-old kid with billions upon billions of dollars builds a fucking space elevator to go play a children's card game with an ancient spirit.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
But
when you
if
put that,
you're arguing about the plot of how ridiculous Yu-Gi-Oh is, then it's not a children's card game, Danny.
true.
It is
I'm
an
just
ancient game of spirits and power,
mhm.
okay?
I
And
I'm just
magic.
saying it's amazing.
Mhm.
Um,
It's horrible. It just sucks. When I was
um,
a kid, I'm like, wow. And then I watched it again and I'm like, this fucking
yeah.
sucks.
Otherwise, like my other favorite moment would probably be uh the All Might and All for One fight.
Ooh, United
S-
States of Smash.
Yes.
I
Fanta-
looked over and Aaron was crying at the end of that.
yeah.
It's so good. It's so powerful, dude.
I
Yeah.
I do have to say, and the reason why I didn't say it when you first asked me is because a lot of people don't consider Avatar: The Last Airbender an anime,
Yeah.
but the fight between Zuko and his sister Princess Azula, it has to be like one of the most emotionally charged moments in like any animated show period, because like they build up from it from season 2 all the way up to the finale, and it's like you expect a high octane adrenaline pumping like musical score and everyone's fighting, fire is blasting everywhere, but when it gets to that point it's genuinely somber music, and like you can feel in like the tension between an extremely emotionally unstable Azula and Zuko, who has went from being a super angsty I need to catch the avatar to like becoming almost peaceful and at his pinnacle because he's trained so hard. He's not a child prodigy like Azula is. And it's just so somber, and the animation is absolutely fucking gorgeous. The red versus the blue fire, and like their movements, and like you can see how unstable Azula is in her fighting. It's just like that gets me every time I watch it. It's like, oh my god, this is fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
Mm.
I
It's
have
like my hands down my favorite moment in the Avatar series,
yeah.
in animated period.
I have one more moment that I want to mention, then we should probably get into the meat of the show, but that is in Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans. The
Oh
first
shit.
the first like arc when they're in Edmonton, like that fight between the main Gundam and the like authority Gundam.
Mhm.
I don't it's been so long that I don't remember the terminology for uh for everything in Iron Blooded Orphans, but I remember it being a sweet fucking fight. It was one of those ones where they bring in like that season's like theme song under it too, and like they just like went all out with the Sakuga. And sometimes it's just fun to watch Gundam not be like war's bad, okay? Because
Mhm.
that's what Gundam feels like half the time. Anyways, let's get into the meat of the show. Mendacii, are you ready? Are
Heyo.
you ready to dance?
Oh man, disco's never gonna die, baby.
Man,
Hell yeah.
disco sucks, but Disco Elysium doesn't by the sounds of it.
How dare you? Uh,
Disco's
stay alive.
different in Disco Elysium, but it is important. And wow, I can't wait to talk about this because it shot up to probably pretty damn close to my number one spot for video game of all time. I'm going to try and keep it brief, even though my heart is exploding. But real quick, have either of you seen anything about this game, played it even, anything like that?
That's a negatory.
Okay. Green?
I seen you play it. I seen you.
Yeah, yeah. Disco Elysium was like one of the first games that I was really streaming. And man, I loved every minute of it. So much to the point that I decided to buy it again on Steam, where I had originally purchased it on PS4. So, to kind of give you the brief overview of what Disco Elysium is, you are playing in a not so fictitious world, though it is made up nations, made up governments, and made up religions. But overall, it doesn't take place like in the post apocalyptic wastelands or on a planet far, far away, anything like that. It's in a very, how do I want to put this? Familiar place. We'll just say that, with very familiar characters. And you play as a detective who, at the very beginning, you're going through dialogue and you realize you don't know who you are. You're having a conversation with the most primal parts of your brain. And your primal parts of your brain are telling you, hey, you're basically dead now. Like, you're gone. There's nothing of you left. You've lost all of your humanity, your ego, your id. They're all wiped. You drank yourself into this sort of amnesia. And when you wake up, you're literally on the brink of death. Your organs have started to fail you, and you can't remember your name, you can't remember like who you are, where you come from, and why you're here. And they destroy you in a very disgusting, distraught, screwed up hotel room. And the first mystery you solve is where your other shoe is, and it escalates from there until you go down to the lobby and they're like, hey, are you finally going to do something about the guy hanging from the fucking tree in the backyard? And you're like, what? And it's really great. The narrative way that they actually bring the entire story to you, they don't treat you, the player, any different than they do the character. When someone comes up to you and says something that your character, quote unquote, should know, and he doesn't, you get to respond in the way that you as a player should would feel in that situation. Like, I have no idea what's going on. I don't even know my name. And you can try and be truthful with people, or you can try and play it off that, you know, your body, your head, and everything like that aren't failing you and falling apart at every turn. It really depends on how you want to spin it. Now, it's more than just like a dialogue based game or anything like that. In fact, it's actually much more an RPG in that you have a bunch of stats. But your stats aren't necessarily like, say, strength, dex, constitution, wisdom, intelligence, charisma. Instead, you have like your four main faculties, which are, you know, like your essentially your attributes. Like, you have thinker, sensitive, and physical, which are like your archetypes for these. But you also have your intellect, psyche, physic, and or physique, sorry, and motors. So it literally strips down what makes a person into four things and then splays them out into 16 different things. Now that sounds like a ton to manage, but it actually breaks it down in a very human way. So perhaps you're very good at physique. So your endurance is high, your pain threshold is high, your physical instruments, which is like literally being able to punch through stuff, break stuff, using your body in such a way. Your electrochemistry, how your body interacts with different things that you put into it, cigarettes, booze, drugs. Your shivers. This is your sixth sense, the way that your hair stands on the back of your neck, in order to like let you know that there are other things at play, or perhaps there's someone waiting around the corner with a metal pipe. And then there is half light, which is your ability to kind of suss out things that might be extra paranormal or supernatural going on around you. Now, this is just one section. This is just your physique. You could choose to not be a very physical character. You could instead lead more into your psyche and be much more of like a kind of empathic or logical or authoritarian kind of person, depending on faculties that you choose to kind of push. And then on top of that, you then get to start off by picking one of your signature skills, one of the 16. And what that does is it essentially just gives that a little bit of a boost so that when things come up in conversation, it'll allow you to lean more into that. For my first playthrough, I actually went with drama because I thought that it would be interesting. It's kind of your ability to lie as well as suss out when someone's lying to you. And so, in a way, I got to kind of see a lot more of what people were trying to hide underneath them. And it was insane. There's zero way, I don't think, that anyone could just pick up this game, not look at a guide, and then just play exactly like someone else did and get the same things happen to them. There are parts of this game that are not at all, say, like needed. There's a ton of optional stuff in here, and you will not get to it. Like that's the nature of it. You're not supposed to. And you don't max out every stat because humans at their base aren't fantastic at everything. You know, if you are exceptionally logical and also really good with your hands and you can lockpick any door, chances are you're also not like, you know, super keen on sixth senses or, you know, someone known for their brute strength as well as, you know, being super empathic or perhaps being good with a team. Even though I did just kind of explain Dr. Banner. But that's neither here nor there. He's a superhuman, okay? And you are not that. You are a man who nearly drank himself to death. So it's really fun. The whole game is you trying to figure out who you are, and then also at the same time trying to keep the peace because there is a massive kind of like uprising of workers that are on strike against the local government, as well as somebody got murdered, and you need to figure out who did that and why. And there's just a ton of other things that kind of happen around this city as the days progress. And there is a day-night cycle. Time progresses, and you are timed, but it's quite liberal with how much you get to do in a day. And on top of that, it takes exceptionally good notes. And because your character is also a blank slate as far as his brain goes, you can essentially rebuild how you want his personality to work. So you'll pick up methods of thinking or ways of thinking, and you can just kind of build a person with these kinds of methodologies and ideologies. There are ways to make a terrible trash human who is a fascist and racist bigot, and everyone around him doesn't want to talk to him other than other racist, bigot fascists. It's quite interesting, and of course, you can die. You can also become so depressed that your character decides to end it, or you could go back to alcohol and drugs until your body shuts down on you.
That's my choice.
Right? Yes. So there's so much to choose from. The world is beautiful, and depending on what skills you choose, the world will tell you a different story. I had a lot in logic when I went through, or sorry, not logic, but encyclopedia. And so every time that I found a new structure or monument, it would literally give me like pages of lore. Now, this seems exhaustive, honestly, to read through it. But that's just it, is that in the previous adaptation of this, just Disco Elysium, not the final cut or director's cut as I have it listed, it is now almost 100% voice acted. All of our supporting characters have voices, and the narrator that they have here has the most amazing voice that I have heard in I don't even know how long. It is eerie, it is soothing, it is rapturous. It's just satin cloth dragged across gravel. It's amazing. And it's also their first voice acting credit ever. It's insane. So yeah, if you really want to hear him talk a lot, I would recommend taking a lot of encyclopedia. But yeah, I highly recommend this game. It is probably It's up there with my favorite RPG of all time. Yeah, it's kind of like a number one contender for me. And as far as video games go, it's definitely in my top three. I don't want to talk about it for too long because we already talked about anime for a long time. So I really want to toss it back to you two. Do you guys have any questions as far as Disco Elysium goes?
I
Uh,
do not.
I'm checking it
I do
out.
not.
I am checking it out on Steam right now. It is currently retailing the final cut for $40 American. Looks like its
Mhm.
lowest recorded price is 65% off at which would be $14 American.
That's a
Um,
steal.
I was gonna ask you, is that like if you see it at that price again? And the last time it was that low was actually not too long ago. It was 28th of March, 2022.
Yeah, and it also goes on sale on PlayStation fairly often as well.
Hmm.
This is one of the games where every time that I see it on sale, especially if we're doing our end of month deals, I am going to shout it out every time. This game, you'd be lucky if you beat it in 20 hours. I
Okay.
would say maybe if you beat it in 30 or 40, but that's if you're really not paying attention to any of the other people, because there are people out there that do require your help. You don't have to turn over every stone, but the game rewards you so much for every stone that you turn over. And the world and its people are just so interesting.
Yeah. And then if you're interested in it for PC, you didn't go over specs, right? I didn't miss that.
No, no, I did not.
Specs requires a 64-bit processor and operating system. Windows 7 is the oldest you can go with your operating system. You need an Intel Core 2 Duo, 2 gigs of RAM, DirectX 11 compatible video card with 20 gigs of available hard drive space. So nothing too fancy is required minimally. It does recommend having an NVIDIA GeForce 1060 for the recommended. Um, yeah, no, it sounds like something that you've absolutely fallen in love with, and yeah, no, I think you covered basically everything that I would ever want to ask about it.
Yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to doing another playthrough and streaming that. Now that I have a gaming PC setup, I'll also be able to use the Twitch integration, which your chat can actually help boost some of your stats in those situations that I said you'll never be able to do everything. They can at least turn the odds, which it does use. I believe that we saw on screen a little bit of a dice rolling mechanic. So there is a little bit of a chance thing there. Some can be retried the following day and some can never be tried again. So it's literally there to make a very unique playthrough. And yeah, I can't sing its praises enough, man. It's one of the best games I've ever played.
Excellent. Sounds like quite the adventure.
Mm.
Was there anything else on that?
No, man, just go get it. And if you have it, why didn't you play it yet?
Gotcha. I was trying to come up with in my head there a good segue, and I really don't have one. Guys, I played a cute is a loose term. I played a game called Amanda the Adventurer.
It's the exact opposite of drinking yourself into a coma so hard that you forget everything.
I kind of wish with with how creepy the game is. By the way, guys, I did play this on my stream, but it's also available on my second YouTube channel, Danie K Highlights and Shorts. Go check that out. Subscribe there. I'm gonna keep all my gameplay stuff separate from the podcast stuff, so you guys can check it out um, at your own discretion. But yeah, Amanda the Adventure is a short horror game, very short, where you play a creepy edutainment game that leaves you pretty unfucking settled. The game is free on itch and should be playable on most machines. It's also very short, so this is one where you're gonna want to like keep a few others lined up to play along as or to play with as well, right? This is like a horror game mukbang kind of
Hmm.
material where you just like want to go through like a bunch of them, install, download a bunch of them and spend an afternoon or an evening playing like 10 games. Um, so starting with the aesthetics, the game does emulate that child's edutainment TV and games pretty well, but also has the disturbing PSX look of everything being slightly janky and like not like super um it's not super high res, kind of low poly, weird kind of stuff, right? The controls are all point and click with a little bit of typing. In fact, the game kind of bills itself as a typing game. Um, but the gameplay does kind of lack a bit because the game is so short, it railroads you really hard. So don't expect a lot of replayability out of this game. Um, that being said, when I was kind of doing a little bit more research on it, it looks like there might be some secret endings and stuff. I didn't find them if there were. I played through it twice, as you can see in the video, and it just gave me the same ending twice. Uh, so the secret endings, how you trigger them, I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna kind of go back and look at it. But if you guys want to check it out and find the secret endings, go by all means, go ahead. Um, but with that, I do have some suggestions if if the devs are there and they want to find the time to expand on this. Um, I would love to see more mystery of the Amanda character, as well as what happened to Wooly, her friend. Um, and yeah, like I said, I did play the game twice. I didn't find any of the secret endings or anything like that. If there are some, um, but definitely, like, if there are more endings, I would love to see more defined ways to get them. Really, like, make it more clear that there's more than just the one playthrough. Um, I think the typing function is really cool, and I would love to see way more of it, especially for multiple endings. I think exploring that mechanic would be fantastic and interesting. Where if you're entering in secret codes and stuff like that, and trying to find codes in the scenes themselves, um, that would be a lot more interesting and a lot more thought provoking than just being kind of like a weird experience. But overall, the game is worth playing. It's worth checking out, and because it is pay what you want on itch, I would say throw a dollar or two to the devs for spooks. Kind of tip them after you're done. I think that is the best way to experience games on itch.io is through like a tipping system. Um, but yeah, no, definitely an interesting little play. It was enough to leave me unsettled. Thoughts, questions, opinions?
Man, that looks like VeggieTales smoked a lot of crack.
Yeah, yeah. It gave me uh cannibal Dora the Explorer vibes.
Yeah, yeah. I do like point and click things, and yeah, this looks like a point and click nightmare, which is fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this is like late night Adult Swim. What the hell was it? I can't remember, and I'll never remember the name, which is too bad because man, that's when I knew that it was time to like turn the fucking TV off and roll over. Um,
More oral.
oh god, yeah, that's a good one, but not quite there. Not, or I should say, it's a little bit over that. Oh,
Okay.
or wait, what is it like? Hug me, I'm scared, or something like that.
Oh, don't hug me, I'm scared on YouTube.
Don't hug me, I'm scared. Yeah, that as well. Yeah. Yeah, that also fits the bill. Imagine being put in an episode of that and they're like, "No, you have to play it." That's not good.
Yeah.
No good.
Yeah, it's
Green.
a no for me.
It's a no for you.
That's a no from me, dog.
I will say
I mean,
it's
I'll watch you play it. It looks entertaining that way.
yeah.
I don't want to.
Technically speaking, I think there was like a jump scare, but
Mhm.
it's not. I don't know. There's not really jump scares. It's just unsettling more than it is anything else. You know what I mean? You feel me?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I feel you, dog.
Yeah.
Fee.
Um. Anything else? With Amanda the Adventure?
No said.
Just let me know the next time that you play something from them. I'd like to come and watch.
Yeah. I think tomorrow night will be not my Wednesday. This coming Wednesday will be like my indie game stream. Um, Probably won't play anything from these devs, but we'll see. We'll see.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, if that's all on Amanda the Adventurer, do you guys want to take a quick break?
Yes,
Quite certainly, yes.
All right.
please.
Before we go to break, guys, don't forget that this episode of the podcast is sponsored by Factor 75. Make sure you use my link and code Factor SE578 at checkout for $120 off your first order. And learn more about Factor 75 during this ad break. Guys, we'll be back in just a few minutes. Stay right there. This episode of Next to Nothing is sponsored by Factor 75. Factor 75 is a meal prep service that understands that shopping and cooking takes a lot of time and attention. And if you're busy like I am, it feels more like a chore than a passion. Factor cuts out stressful meal planning and prepping, so meals come together in minutes, taking out all the guesswork of mealtime. They offer meals for a variety of diets, including low-calorie, keto, vegetarian, and vegan. It can even help you with your fitness goals with healthy and purposeful eating. Factor even offers flexible plans with plans as low as 4 meals per week and as many as 18 per week. And if you need to skip a week, you can. If you want to try Factor for yourself, use my link in the episode description or go to go.factor75.com and use Factor SE578 for $120 off your first order. Thanks for listening to the show. And we're back. Green,
Yeah.
tell us why Roblox is unfair.
Oh boy.
Oh, it's so Roblox seems to be in a bit of hot water recently.
Also, real quick, I want to scroll all the way back up to like when we first started the show because our friend Zombie, I did this intentionally. I was hoping someone was going to do it, but he did type in chat, Roblox is unfair. Elon Musk is in there, standing at the concession, plotting his oppression. I did type it like that for a reason. I did say Roblox is unfair, and I really was hoping someone was going to bite. And someone did bite. Get jabaited, Zombie.
Someone bit the bait.
Yes, get jabaited. Green.
Yeah, so Roblox seems to be in a bit of hot water recently as Truth in Advertising, a nonprofit, filed a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission stating false advertising and deceptive marketing. The complaint names a few U.S. companies that have games in the Roblox metaverse, including Netflix, Nike, Hasbro, Mattel, just to name a few. Essentially, these companies have been creating games that advertise products like a Nerf gun shooting game in the Roblox community. As people know, Roblox isn't just a game; it is essentially a platform that creators can make games and put on that platform using that Roblox engine, if you will. It's like almost like a Minecraft-esque style game engine. Truth in Advertising says, quote, advertising is being surreptitiously pushed on millions of unsuspecting Roblox users, and also states Roblox, quote, public company has failed to establish any meaningful guardrails excuse me, to ensure compliance with truth and advertising laws on its platform. So yeah, it's essentially they believe that Roblox isn't doing anything about companies actually putting advertisement style games on the platform itself. And a mass majority of Roblox users are children because it is a free to play platform. That is like the age group that we see a lot of Roblox users being in is that from like 6 to 13 range, and then you have the average in that area, and then there's like a cult following of like older young adults. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think Roblox should be getting in trouble for this, or do you think this is something that the users that are putting the games into should be being flagged for?
I have a question after Danie.
Oh yeah, there's so many things about Roblox that I don't understand just in general. And I feel like, it seems like lately, the more I hear about Roblox, the more I think scrutiny does need to be paid to it. There's this issue. There's also issues of like the Robux, like the in-game currency. Apparently, like there's questions of child labor because you get like the more that you create in Roblox, the more they'll pay you in like Robux, I guess. Like there's like a weird developer stuff with it. It just seems like a messy platform that like they just keep throwing stuff into it without regard to the the proper way that things should be handled, at least here in the States.
Well, Roblox just got in trouble too. There's tentatively getting sued by Kim Kardashian as well, because her child was playing Roblox and somehow ended up seeing an advertisement for a website of Kim Kardashian's sex tape, the infamous sex tape. So she says she has all the money and willpower to see Roblox burn. That's an actual quote, which is funny because Roblox as a whole has a higher net value than her. But
Yeah.
Apples and oranges, So, yeah.
So yeah, real quick, just because I don't want to be like Danie didn't quote anything here, source anything about his child labor statement. From The Guardian, which blow my brains. That was just the first thing I found. The trouble with Roblox, the video game empire built on child labor. Young developers on the platform, used by millions of children, claim they have been financially exploited, threatened with dismissal, and sexually harassed.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hot.
Yeah. So that was by Simon Parkin. I'm not going to get into all the further details, but yeah, it seems like it just is. It feels like a weird mess that it almost doesn't feel like it's actually being run by anybody.
It's such a strange place. Roblox as a whole, and a lot of the like TikTok videos that like somehow happenstance end up on my For You page, I usually block. And then there's a lot of times I've reported several TikTok pages that were Roblox saying that they wanted to like meet like they'll use the inside like the text to speech for TikTok, and it'll be like a Roblox character like, hey, this is me, this is how old I am, and it'll be like, I'm 12, I want to meet new friends, like, and it's like either A, they're too young for the TikTok platform because I think you have to be 13, and B, it's either and like a very stupid kid whose parents haven't taught them like don't fucking talk to people online, or C, it's a child predator who's trying to bait kids in as under the guise of this Roblox like person who says they're young but isn't. So it's such a weird fucking place. Roblox is nutty.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it's like actually being run by somebody. But Mendacii, you said you had something.
It's ran by a bunch of like chimpanzees in a room.
Yeah.
with like coffee and cocaine in the corner and like donut crumbs on the keyboards. Like it's a Wild West place, okay?
I'm pretty sure you actually just described next to nothing.
Yeah. How do you think this show is run? Okay,
Yeah.
I have a bunch of capuchin monkeys and a couple Chromebooks.
Capuchins. They're so cute.
Yeah,
Tangent.
I mean, like there are podcast notes and episode descriptions and so on and so forth that are written every week, but we never touch it. We just open up the files and they're there.
They magically appear there.
Yeah, all of my money is spent on Colombian snow for these fucking monkeys. My question. This bit has gone on too long and I hate it now. My question was, have you guys seen some of the stuff that has come out of Roblox? And to Danie, you actually had answered my question. I was going to ask you guys if you had heard about the child labor lawsuit potential, whatever the hell you want to call that.
I think the only thing I've really seen from like Roblox is like, as I said, like the TikTok, almost like VR chat style thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was like a CS:GO esque style game
Yeah.
that is really popular on the Roblox platform.
Right.
But other than that, like I'm not gonna download Roblox. Like
Right.
I don't need
Yeah.
that type of negativity in my life. Like no.
Yeah, dude. It's like Minecraft Twitter,
I
but
mean, I also feel like it's like there's a certain stigma around Roblox.
mhm. A
Uh,
certain stank, if you will.
yeah. In the stank only gets worse the older you get.
It gives me a vibe of like old school AOL messaging.
Yeah.
Like the
Mhm.
the message platform, where you could get in, there was like 30 people just chatting
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all doing ASL,
Mhm.
being just fucking weird.
Mm.
That's the vibe I get when anyone like mentions Roblox because it's like I feel like there's so many predators on that platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like that's what I was gonna say. Is like it overall just seems like a dangerous place for kids. Yet it's like it's Club Penguin, man, but like more dangerous. The only other things that I wanted to say was like I've seen someone essentially make like Unreal Tournament in Roblox. Like that was fucking neat, but at the same time, like oh, it's on Roblox. Come on, man. But like I don't know. It's so fucking strange and foreign to me. It's not gonna end well. I don't think.
Yeah. Um yeah, I feel like we've kind of been rambling on it, but it's just like we've never talked about it on the show, and it's so fucking weird. Part of the reason we've never talked about it is just how fucking weird it is. Like when you look at it from like other than it's just like this kids thing, it is this game that is like weirdly exploitative of children, is like a platform that seems to not moderate itself very well. So you find all sorts of weird, like disgusting people
Pockets.
on it. Yeah, pockets on it. And like then you find out it's like built on like child developers developing for it and not getting adequately uh compensated, and it uh, just mashes everything up in its just weird slimy thing. And that's part of the reason we've never really talked about it, but this is like the fourth story in a month or like a few months that's gone by about Roblox, and we just haven't talked about it before. We're like, we
I
might
think
as well.
I think the
Yeah.
last time we talked about Roblox was when it became publicly traded.
Mm.
Yeah.
That was like the first and only time we've talked about Roblox. So
Yeah. Yeah. Um anything else on this?
no,
Troublesome.
I want it
It's
to end.
troublesome. Yeah.
Hopefully Roblox just shuts down and kids go back to playing Minecraft.
Right? Minecraft
Yeah.
is so much more safe.
It
I mean,
really is.
you just fucking play solo, build or like a realm with your friends. You don't meet like fucking 800 people in VR chat. They're like, send me pictures of your payouts. Like
Yeah.
I feel like Minecraft is a little bit safer for children, except for apparently there's hackers on Minecraft now.
Oh, there's always
So
been hackers. I
I
remember
mean, I got my account hacked the other like a while ago. I
Oh,
don't know if I
really?
mentioned that. Yeah, they changed my username and they tried to change my security password. They didn't use my account though, my card that was on the account, but yeah, they changed my username and that's it. Like tried to change my security password. That's it.
Yeah. Um so from Roblox, from the dank dark dungeon that is Roblox into the bright shiny world that is Dungeons and Dragons. Mendacii, tell us about the D&D Direct.
Man, that was a segue and a half. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
it
gonna
was a real
take you.
forced one.
I'm gonna take you to space with magic and monsters, and it's still D&D, but it's something cool called Spelljammer, which I really enjoy. So Spelljammer, for those that are uninitiated, is a really cool blend of sci-fi and high fantasy, where you essentially still get to be a paladin, but you could also use a laser gun or a laser rifle or a lightsaber, for lack of a better way of putting it. And you could just sail through the astral sea with a whole bunch of space pirates and go and visit alien worlds. And it's kind of, for really no better way of putting it, really fucking cool. It's existed on a whole bunch of different systems in the past. This is not something necessarily new for the D&D like WotC IP, but it is new for 5e, and it has that new 5th edition money in it. So the art looks awesome. Everything that they have planned for this Spelljammer, I mean, like they have a like a little module coming out, and I think it was July, which is about a month ahead of where they're actually going to be releasing an entire module, which I think they said was like 12 parts, like essentially 12 chapter module, which is nutso, real big. So that's really cool. Like they went all in. They have new classes, like, God, it seemed like 6, maybe 7 new races.
I think they said
Which
6, yeah.
Yeah. Which obviously with your DM or GMs, okay, these are races that you could just bring in and play in your normal, say, high fantasy game. So if you really like, I got reincarnated as a slime, you could play as a slime come July, which is pretty dang cool.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
Hear me out.
What's up?
Space hippos.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
That is a thing.
And insect people.
No, that's actually, that's a thing too.
And mech gnomes.
Yeah, that's that. Okay,
Oh, wait,
so
no.
the mech gnomes,
Dwarves.
mech
Dwarves,
dwarves, yeah,
Yeah.
galactic dwarves. Which, I mean, if you've been playing any of the, what is it, galactic, what is it? What is that called? Where you're literally galactic dwarves mining.
Is that like Dwarf Fortress or?
No, Dwarf Fortress, that's like a type command thing. It doesn't matter. It's hot right now. The kids love it. You can go play as a space mecha dwarf, and that's dope as shit. So yeah, that was like one of the chunks of this D&D Direct, which by the way is the first D&D Direct that they've ever had. And I'm really excited for more because that was pretty neat. They touched on a ton of stuff. So I'm going to just tell you what they included. And this is like literally a week, barely a week after they're like, by the way, we bought D&D Beyond. So people that are like hardcore D&D enthusiasts, especially like the hardcore 5e players and DMs, this is like the best month in the history of forever. So it's pretty cool. People who are also friends of Dragonlance, which if you don't know what that is, long time ago, RPGs could be played alone with a couple of dice and a cool RPG novel, or just reading the novel instead. But yeah, so like that's getting a new board game, which is cool. Dragonlance being bought up by WotC and like this whole lawsuit litigation thing that happened last year due to some of the writers from Dragonlance. That's pretty much all swept under the rug because we're getting a board game, man. Hell yeah, forget about it. We've got another module coming out from them, which is based on the Dia de los Muertos, which is called the Radiant Citadel, or rather, Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel. And it kind of has its own take of on Day of the Dead. We have a brand new D&D 5e starter set. So those of you who tried to get into 5e back when it launched and grab that starter box and you're like, this is still kind of not what I'm looking for, this is kind of difficult, so on and so forth. They said right off the bat, like, there was a lot that we could have done with this. Plus, we've come out with way more stuff since then. So we're going to go ahead and make a new starter box. So the starter box is supposed to be even more new player friendly. So if you've thought about getting into 5e, this might actually be a great new avenue for you. They gave us some news on the Dungeons and Dragons movie coming out next year. It got its own logo. It got a new logo, and then it also got its title, which is Honor Among Thieves. Wow, never heard that before. That's such a different take on an old adage. So they've also got D&D campaign cases, which is pretty cool if you're into like the swag of being able to keep all of your player character sheets or notes and dice and so on and so forth together. But they also came with like these, they look like poker chips, but they size from like your normal 1 inch by 1 inch circle to a 2 by 2 to a 3 by 3, which is your medium, large, and huge. I don't think that they have anything that is supposed to be like gargantuan or colossal, anything like that. So you're still going to have to use like coasters or just drawing a big circle on a dry erase map. But they have these really cool like peel and stick monster art that obviously it's not as cool as say having like this giant thing on your table, like if you were like cool and good at painting and you could paint terrible awful monsters that are a conglomeration of hands and people carrying a giant bloody cleaver or something like that if you are into nightmares. But it really works in a pinch, and you can also take those back off the tokens, put them back on the sheet if you're a responsible adult, and reuse them. There's a lot of really cool stuff in that case. And if I was more of like a just getting into it or like a novice DM, that's probably something that I would grab because it will save you a lot of time, effort, and money in the long run. Especially if you really want to nosedive in there without dropping hundreds or thousands of dollars. So, we also got to look at Baldur's Gate 3 again, which is coming out from the same people that did Divinity 2 Original Sin, which was fantastic. And Baldur's Gate 3, if you don't already know, it's been in development for quite some time. We hit early access with it, I think, about a year and a half ago, roughly. But it looked really good. First impressions were, wow, I can't wait for this whole thing to be here. And they're talking more about some of the stuff that they're adding and everything like that. So there is still new builds coming out. I'm not sure if you purchase this game right now, pre-purchase is still $60 and is early access. You may still have to deal with them wiping your save data as they put out new builds of the game. But they have announced that they will have the fully finished game next year. So definitely be on the lookout for that, especially if you're into these kind of like tactical RPGs with some really intense story development and character development, along with being able to make your own character. I think the most interesting thing about Baldur's Gate 3 is that they said that they got as close as possible to using all of the mechanics of 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons in the game. So all of the spells that you can use and all of the actions that you can use in this game are based on feats, actions, spells, and meta magic or wild magic and so on and so forth that you can have in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. And of course, they have a die rolling system, which that might need to get reworked because you could potentially, like you always have 5% chance of crit failing on things, especially if you're using the most widely used homebrew rule of natural 20 is always a critical success and a natural 1 is always a critical failure no matter what it is, even though you shouldn't be able to critically succeed or fail at any skill checks. Most people keep that in there. So you could say fail 5 checks in a row just because that's the way the digital dice fell. And there won't be a DM to give you a little pat on the back and a pity roll or like a pity success because of your shit luck that night. So definitely be on the lookout for that, especially say like as we get closer to next year with its actual full release. I think that was all the big things from the D&D Direct. My jaw hurts. How about you guys? Is there anything I missed? Anything you're interested about?
Uh,
I am just interested in the characters. They're the new races like a slime and
Right?
yeah.
hippo, and there's like a space monkeys, like the humanoid
Mhm.
monkeys, and then uh astral elves, and they're called autognomes.
Yeah,
Autognomes.
autognomes. That's what I
Yeah.
was saying. It's like mech gnomes or autognomes or something. I knew it wasn't dwarves. I knew it was But yeah, no, I think the new bringing some of these like Spelljammer hasn't gotten its 5e treatment yet.
Hmm.
Almost, I think almost all the other classic D&D settings have. I think Greyhawk, no, not Greyhawk, Eberron. The Forgotten Realms has just been like done to death by
Right.
t-
Sword Coast, Sword Coast, Sword
s-
Coast.
yeah. Um
Slaver's Bay, Slaver's Bay, Slaver's Bay.
yeah. So it's nice to see like Spelljammer, because that was one of those ones that when like I started kind of getting into D&D and like looking at the settings and stuff, that I thought Spelljammer looked really cool and interesting, and very unique. I think
Hmm.
it's a very interesting mix of high fantasy and sci-fi that
Hmm.
hasn't really been done any other way that I've seen. Like the closest I've kind of seen it being done to is um Treasure Planet from Disney.
Right.
And I'm sure maybe there's an anime or two that's out there that's kind of like that. But yeah, so it's nice to
Yeah.
see that. I think that's cool that Spelljammer's getting its treatment now. Um, yeah, all the new player races are very interesting and fun. Um, I especially like the insectoids. Uh, I don't remember what their actual race name is called, but like,
They're like Fomors or something like that.
yeah, because we have our bird people, we have a few different lizard people, all sorts of human esque, elves, dwarves, halflings, gnomes. There's orcs. We don't really have any sort of insectoid character race,
Hmm.
which so that's really fun. I know there's been some other like mammalians, like there's uh oh golly, what's the word I'm looking for? Um Elephant. There's an elephant race. So,
Yeah, the Luxodon, which come actually from Magic the Gathering. As far as bird races go, you got the Kenku and you got the Aarakocra.
yep.
But yeah, like there's so much. As soon as they brought in Wizards of the Coast, it brought in so many different things, like the Vidalcan and everything. And as far as like Spelljammer things, there's also just an entire system that's built on basically Spelljammer shit, which is Starfinder by the people of Paizo alongside, Pathfinder. So
Yeah.
if you're like, wow, this is literally all I ever wanted, what if I want to play more with like an entire thing? Which 5e definitely has that. Starfinder is a tad, it's a little dated and it's got a very steep curve. But I mean, like, if you really wanted to jump in this right the hell now, like, you could just go play Starfinder and pick one out of, like, I think 30 races and just go to town. But yeah, no, like, this was something that I think that a lot of people were also thinking that Wizards of the Coast was going to drop on us.
Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, I don't really have much else. I think it's cool. There's not a ton else that I'm like super excited for.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, no, I think it's cool. I think
Yeah.
the presentation itself was really well done.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I was actually pleasantly surprised with that, with it being like their first production. I was expecting it to be, uh,
Cringe.
yeah, a little bit more cringe, but they kept it tasteful. They kept it very
Yeah.
tasteful.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and there's that live play that they're doing. I can't remember everybody that's in there because they named like 12 different people, and I was just like going through like what. But the gal that was like one of the main characters in Daredevil that like helped Matthew Murdock and Foggy Nelson set up their
Rosario
lawyer
Dawson.
agency. No, not Rosario Dawson.
Uh,
Yeah, but anyway,
uh,
she was also on Critical Role for an episode where she played as like a crazy weird gnome named Twiggy. She's also DM'd. I think that she actually did an entire series, and she's done a whole bunch of guest DMing everywhere. So like it's yeah, like literally every other person on that cast was just like, oh holy shit! Like you should consider them like D&D royalty at this point.
Deborah Ann Wool.
Yes. Yes. Very, very good person. Very, very cool.
Excellent. Anything else on D&D Direct?
Mm, nothing. Green, you? Nada?
No,
Maybe?
no,
Yeah.
it was definitely neat. I enjoyed the sea shanty intro was really cool. I mean,
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that was
it
fun.
was a vibe, a whole ass vibe.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see the next one, hopefully, like when they get closer to revealing what they want to do with D&D Beyond.
Yeah. Yeah, especially like I was hoping that there was going to be a little bit of stuff there, but there wasn't, and I wonder if it was. It makes me wonder if the deal was finalized that late that they couldn't really add anything, or they just didn't have anything yet. Because it's like I'm like, well, if they actually finalize that acquisition, like I don't know where they were in the planning. So I was hoping that like maybe with the D&D Beyond acquisition that they actually had it all like finalized and planned out months ahead of time, and they were going to be able to put something in this D&D Direct, and but it doesn't seem like that was the case, which is a little disappointing, a little sad.
Yeah. Uh, but what can you do? You can't have everything.
Can't
Can't
have
have
everything.
everything.
Yeah. Uh well, I think that's it then. We want to wrap up the show.
Sure thing.
Green Elite, what's coming up on your channel?
I'm probably gonna be playing some Hunt Showdown.
Hell yeah.
Sounds about right, right? I don't know, just doing my normal thing, vibing out, hanging out, chatting with people, working on content and making it happen. Catch that on twitch.tv/Mr. Green Elite. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all the fancy places, TikTok. Follow my TikTok, please.
Mendacii, what's coming up with you?
Hey man, so it's looking like Papa's gonna work a really long week again. Probably gonna be forced to work on Saturday again. So got that 60-hour work grind. But I am gonna try and start up Weird West on Thursday and see how far we can get before we collapse from exhaustion. As far as Friday goes, Friday is up in the air. If I do get around to playing anything, I am going to try and play some more Vermintide 2 with my buddy Brent with some Twitch integration. So if you really want to screw us up and throw a whole bunch of terrible curses and monsters at us, you can certainly try and do that and see if it'll kill us. Otherwise, we're always open to have a couple people join us from our Twitch community. Saturday is Hunter Day with the homies, as per the usual. So as long as Vic is good on her schoolwork and I am not absolutely dead and interned in a coffin or urn, I will be hunting more monsters late at night on Saturday, also with a slot open for community. Otherwise, you can follow me and see what my plans are on my Twitter at only Mendacii, and the Twitch is the backslash and the Mendacii. It's the thing. It's there. It's also in the show notes.
Excellent. Coming up for me tomorrow night, we're gonna be doing some indie games and Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. Thursday night, we'll be doing some Hunt Showdown, and then Saturday. I'm sorry, not Saturday. Sunday. I said Yu-Gi-Oh! Master. Did I say Duel Links? I'm sorry, I meant Master Duel on Wednesday. But I also said I was going to do Master Duel on Sunday, but I actually am going to be changing over to a sponsored Raid Shadow Legends stream. So if you guys are interested in that, come check it out. Otherwise, find me on Twitter at Danie K, DANIECAE. Find the new YouTube channel, Danie K Shorts and Highlights for gameplay stuff. And yeah, also check out my co-host here. Sorry, Green, your chat message scared me. I thought I was talking to myself there for a second.
Same.
No, like everything went silent for a second, and then I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay. But yeah, guys, that's going to wrap it up on the show this week. Thanks for watching and listening. Your time with us is always appreciated, but of course, we're not just here for your time. We're interested in your opinions. So let us know what you think about any of the topics that we discussed today. Also, our question of the week this week, which is, what's your favorite anime moment? Green is an absolute monster for even mentioning his.
Edward,
If you guys miss any
come
part of
play.
if you guys miss any part of the show or want to take us on the go, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and every where podcasts are found. If you guys want to catch us live, you can find us on Twitch at 7 p.m. Central Time every Tuesday. If you guys like what we do, drop a like or subscribe and ring that bell. It helps us a ton on YouTube. Don't forget to check out our sponsor, Factor 75. You guys can get $120 off your first order by using my link or code Factor SE 578 at checkout. Factor SE 578 at checkout. If you guys really want to take it to the next level, though, in your support of the show, tell your friends. It's easy. Just like a retweet. It's fantastic. It helps us out way more than you could ever know. Other than that, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, keep fighting the good fights, and we'll talk to you guys again next week. Goodbye.
I'm so tired.